Hey, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal. It's time for another rant from my kitchen. This rant is from my computer instead of my sink because I already washed my dishes and I already had supper. So, after the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict, a lot of people are expressing astonishment that the media is continuing to tell the same lies about Kyle Rittenhouse that they've been telling, including such brazen lies as that he shot 3 black people. Every single assailant that Kyle Rittenhouse shot was at least as white as he was. These were white people. These were not black people. You're a pretty piss-poor example of a white supremacist if you go someplace and only manage to shoot people of your own race. Well, so here we have the situation where they keep lying. The expectation seems to be that eventually the media are going to get the idea that their job is to inform the public. That's not their job. You go clear back to Walter Duranty providing cover for the Soviet Union and asserting that there was no famine in Ukraine when Stalin was deliberately starving millions of his own people to death. Okay? The same people who pulled the Walter Duranty thing, and I don't care whether they're doing it deliberately or whether they're useful idiots. The point is, whatever their allies tell them to say, they will say it uncritically, they will pass it along, and they will crucify anybody who tries to call them out on it. And I'm going to give you a personal example from a topic that I know well. Yes, abortion, you guessed it. Back in the early 1990s, I was Feminist for Life's Pennsylvania contact. I got a phone call from a woman in Philadelphia, and I'm just going to call her Susan so that we can give her a name. Susan said that up to a few days earlier, she had been an escort for an abortion clinic in Philadelphia, and she had become a pro-life convert. And she told me the story of how it happened. She said she volunteered to be a clinic escort, and she went in for her volunteer training, and the volunteer coordinator said that the Right to Lifers are going to try to talk to the women and are going to try to give them materials to read, and that they must not let the women hear anything that the protesters say, and that any reading material that the women are handed must be taken away from them. You must not let them take it into the clinic where they can read it. And Susan said, well, I thought we were about choice. Doesn't that mean then that they should get to hear all sides and make a decision, based on that? Oh, but what the anti-choicers are saying is all lies. So, you don't want to have them looking at lies at such a crucial time. So Susan said that she dutifully took away any materials that the pro-lifers handed the women as the women were walking into the abortion clinic. Driving me crazy that my hair looks so funky. Susan said that she took the materials home, and she didn't want to just take the things away from the women. She wanted to be able to intelligently counter the information. So she went to the library and she got neutral third-party information. And she said that she was shocked to find out that where the pro-lifers and the pro-choicers were saying different things, it was the pro-lifers who were telling the truth and not the pro-choicers. This came as quite a shock to her. And of course, she was still pro-choice, so she went to the volunteer coordinator and she says, look, I looked this up, and the stuff that the pro-choicers are putting out is the lies. This stuff that the pro-lifers are handing to the women is true. So, shouldn't we let them go ahead and keep it so that they can hear both sides? And the volunteer coordinator said they don't need to know that information, or words to that effect. So Susan said that that really upset her to begin with, and then she contacted the Philadelphia Inquirer. And somehow she'd gotten the contact number of the person that the clinic usually talked to, and she said she made an appointment to talk to that reporter and his editor. And she went in with the pro-life brochures, and she went in with the stuff the pro-choicers were putting out, and she went in with copies of the neutral third-party information she'd gotten from the library. And she said she laid it all out for them. Here's where the pro-lifers are telling the truth. Here's where the pro-choicers are lying to the women. And she said, oh, this is very, very interesting. Can we keep these materials? Yes, thank you for bringing that to our attention. And then she said to me, and they're still printing the lies. And I just started laughing. And she's like, what's so funny? I said, did you really think anything was going to change because you personally caught on? And she was silent for a couple seconds. She goes, I guess you're kind of used to it. I said, yeah. So, you know, it doesn't matter if you personally have been red-pilled. The media is not going to change what they do. They consider it their job to be the PR wing of their allies, and they're not going to change what they do. Diane Sawyer called Lawson Akpolonu a non-story when he was raping women in his abortion clinic. They ignored Gosnell when they were kind of pressured into covering the story. They still lied and covered for the National Abortion Federation. They're not going to stop lying about Kyle Rittenhouse either. They're not going to do it ever, because lying for their allies is what they do.